Hey, this is Dr. Barry. For the next few minutes, let's talk about a disease or a disease process that plagues millions of people with severe joint pain, and that's gout. And I'm going to talk about the basics of gout pathophysiology. I'm going to talk about some very common myths that you've probably heard about, how to manage your gout, some truths about gout that you may never have heard before. And then I'm going to give you at the end of this video 10 steps that you can take starting right now, as soon as you finish this video, to decrease the risk of you ever having another gout attack. Gout is a terrible, terrible disease. There are only 3 things in my history as a family doctor that I've had women tell me this is worse than childbirth, and gout is one of those things. And so if a woman says that, you definitely don't want this. So now I've seen the people who follow the standard diet recommendations and take the standard pills who still continue to have severe, debilitating gout attacks. And I've also seen another subset of my patient population who bucked the trend. They didn't follow the standard advice. They didn't take the standard pills, and they have almost no gout flare-ups whatsoever. And I want to talk to you about the difference between these two patient populations. Now, first of all, everybody knows we were taught that if you want to not get gout and not have gout flare-ups, you need to eat low fat, you need to eat a low purine diet, you need to avoid red meat, you need to avoid seafood, and these are just not true. But here's the thing, we're taught that having eating lots of purines, right, will increase your uric acid ultimately, and that'll lead to gout attacks. Well, here's a problem with that, and I want you to think about this fact. You make purines in your body. Now, where do they come from? Anytime in your body, anytime a cell breaks down ATP for energy or GTP for energy, purine is created, okay? Anytime you break down DNA or RNA, purine is created. And so we call these endogenous purines because you make them yourself. What everybody's telling you is to avoid exogenous purines by eating a low purine diet, but the problem is your body actually makes 5 to 10 times as many purines from the breakdown of energy and DNA and RNA than you could ever eat if you ate a high purine diet every day of your life. Your body makes way more purines than you could ever eat. Secondly, I've checked uric acid levels on thousands of patients in my time in the clinic, and I found multiple people who have an elevated uric acid level in their blood, but they don't have gout and they've never had a gout attack. Now, if high uric acid causes gout, why don't these people have gout and have gout attacks? That's a second fact to ponder. Third, we're all taught that uric acid crystals, they look like broken shards of glass under a microscope. That's totally true. But we're taught that if these get into your joint, you'll have a gout attack. The problem with this, and the fact I want you to ponder, is that if you withdrew synovial fluid from a joint, just a normal joint, not a gouty joint, there are uric acid crystals in normal joints. These people don't have pain, they don't have inflammation, they don't have a gout attack, but uric acid is in their joints. In fact, if I came to your house right now and withdrew some joint fluid from your big toe joint or your knee joint or ankle joint, there would be uric acid crystals in there. Not many, but there would be some. Next, did you know that uric acid, your body actually uses it as an antioxidant? Leads me directly to the final fact to ponder, is that uric acid is excreted in the kidney. We all know that. But did you know that in the proximal convoluted tubule of the kidney, your body actually reabsorbs over 50% of the uric acid that was initially put into your urine? And so your body's excreting uric acid, but then the kidney's turning right around and reabsorbing over 50% of that uric acid. Now, if uric acid were really bad and dangerous, would your kidneys be doing that? I say no. That's the final fact to ponder. Now, next we're going to go to lies that you can just totally forget because they're obviously silly, they're not true, they don't help you to prevent you from having gout, and they don't keep you from having gout flare-ups. So these are a low purine diet. We've already covered this. Eating a high purine diet has nothing to do with gout, okay? And the research, when you actually look at it, it's pretty clear that many people eat a high purine diet. They never have gout. Many people with gout eat a super low purine diet and they keep having flare-ups. It's got to be something else. The next one is that you should eat lots of fruit and veg. You should drink the juices of lots of fruits. Certain fruits are magic, lime juice, lemon juice. Certain veg is magical, celery juice, cherry juice. All these things were taught. There's no basis in research for this whatsoever. It doesn't make any common sense. Our ancestors 100,000 years ago never made juices from any of these things, and actually this is terrible advice, and I'll get to that later. So you need to take a pill every day, a prescription pill. This is a lie you can forget. You don't have an allopurinol deficiency. You don't have a euloric deficiency. These pills do something that I'll talk about in a minute, but you don't need these pills if you eat the proper diet. You don't need extracts of celery, of cherry. You don't need lemon, lime. You don't need any of this stuff. None of this stuff. These are lies you can just forget. You don't need to buy anyone's gout supplement or gout powder or gout protein shake. None of that stuff. You don't need any of that, okay? The next lie you can totally forget is that the reason you have gout flare-ups is that your blood is too acidic. This is a very sophomoric lie that I worked in the emergency department for thousands of hours. I've drawn arterial blood gases on thousands of patients. You cannot meaningfully alter a human being's blood acidity or alkalinity level by eating celery or cherries or any of that. That's all foolishness. None of that helps. The next is that you need to eat very low fat. Eating fat, whether it's saturated fat or unsaturated fat, has absolutely nothing to do with uric acid production, with joint inflammation. Has nothing to do with that. Now we're done with the lies you can forget. Next, we're going to move on to truths to apply to your uric acid gout situation. Inflammation is the problem. Gout is inflammatory in nature, okay? If someone has a gout attack in a joint, they have inflammation in that joint. Now remember, even a normal joint can have uric acid crystals, so that's not necessarily the cause. The cause is inflammation. And in fact, when you come to me as a doctor and say, oh my God, I've got a gout attack, it's killing me, what do I give you? Do I give you a medicine that quickly gets all the uric acid out of your body? No, that's not how you manage an acute gout attack. I give you an anti-inflammatory, whether that's a steroid or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. That's what's going to relieve your pain quickly, is by getting rid of the inflammation. So it stands to reason that if you eat a diet and live a lifestyle that's uninflammatory, you'll be much less likely to get gout. Next is fructose. Fructose is proven in multiple studies, and it makes sense on many levels that drinking lots of fructose is a terrible idea if you want to not have gout attacks. Stop drinking fruit juices. Stop drinking any soft drink or any drink that has high fructose corn syrup or sucrose, because sucrose is made of glucose and fructose. So anything that has sucrose in it or fructose is going to increase your likelihood of having a gout attack. I would cut down on the amount of fruit, even raw, organic, non-GMO fruit. I would cut down on that if you've been diagnosed with gout. But definitely get the soft drinks and the fruit juices out of your diet. They're going to make things worse. Next is having an elevated insulin level in your blood is causing this. That's a big part of the cause, is if you're chronically hyperinsulinemic because you're eating too many carbohydrates on a daily basis, that will greatly increase your risk of a gout attack. Next is alcohol. Alcohol is absolutely causal. It works on both ends of this equation to increase your risk of having gout. Beer's the absolute worst. Wine and spirits come in a close second. If you've been diagnosed with gout, you want to stop the alcohol. I'm sorry. I promise you, not having a gout flare-up is much more fun than any fun you could ever have from drinking alcohol. And then the last truth to apply, you hear this on the internet, oh, you shouldn't drink coffee. That'll cause acidity in the blood and that'll cause a gout attack. That's complete rubbish. There's actually meaningful research that shows that the more coffee you drink, the less likely you are to have a gout attack. So stop being afraid of coffee. Coffee is your friend. Alcohol is not your friend. Now let's get on to the 10 steps that you can start applying right now so that you are never going to have another gout attack, because that's what I want for you. So the 10 steps are, the first one is obviously stop drinking any alcohol. Secondly, there's tons of research that show that being obese or overweight is directly related to gout attacks. You've got to lose fat. And the way to do that is to follow the diet. I've got a link down below. You can follow it. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just follow the diet. It's free. You can buy the food at the grocery. Next is you've got to decrease inflammation in your body. You've got to get rid of industrial seed oils. They cause inflammation. All of these things have a very bad omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and they'll cause inflammation in your body. Inflammation, we now know, is one of the major causes of gout. Next is you've got to decrease the fructose. Next is sugars and grains. When you break it down in your stomach acid, it immediately converts to glucose and fructose. Oh, wait. So sugars and grains are going to raise your blood sugar. That's going to make your blood insulin level go up. Remember, insulin, that's going to increase your risk of a gout flare-up. So sugars and grains are not your friends. Next is you want to keep the insulin level very low, and you do that by eating a low-carbohydrate diet, whether it's low-carb, keto, or carnivore. They're like, yeah, since I've been eating this diet, I haven't had a single gout flare-up, and I ran out of my allopurinol or my Uloric. I ran out of it 6 months ago, but I didn't come for a refill because I haven't had any more attacks. That makes me very happy as a doctor. Next is you've got to get plenty of magnesium and potassium in your diet, whether you do this by eating magnesium and potassium rich foods, or whether you do this with a liquid supplement. And I'll put a link down below if you just rather use a liquid instead of trying to get lots of magnesium and potassium foods in your diet. These have been shown in research to decrease your risk of a gout attack. Next is you want to make as many ketones as you can. Beta hydroxybutyrate is an excellent anti-inflammatory. I don't want you to drink exogenous ketones. I want you to make your own ketones, and you do that by eating a ketogenic or a carnivore diet. Lastly, I want you to not be afraid of coffee. Drink your coffee. If you know someone with gout who's had a gout flare-up in the past, please consider sharing this video with them. And you literally could change someone's life, because when you have a gout attack, that's one of the worst things in the world. If my videos have helped you improve your health in some small way, please consider signing up and becoming a patron. There's a Patreon link right down below. You can sign up very quickly, and you can throw a buck or two my way so that I have more time and more resources to make videos just like this. This is Dr. Barry. I'll see you next time.